Hello everyone, I'm Uli Grätzl. I'm currently a professor in tourism at the Business School at the University of Queensland in Australia. It is my pleasure to be here today as a guest lecturer for Dan Wang's class. And I have been invited because I have been researching technology and how people use technology, why they use certain kinds of technologies for over 20 years actually. So it will be my pleasure to introduce you to this topic of technology adoption. So let's think about technology in the context of tourism. What is there in terms of technology? And when we do that, we usually think about consumers using technology. So we see in our minds probably people running around with the mobile phones nowadays. We think about people using social media like TripAdvisor to search for information, and maybe also Google Maps navigation systems to find their way at a destination. And you might think also of some newer technologies like virtual reality, where people do not have to travel necessarily, but can experience destinations virtually. But there's more to technology in tourism. The tourism industry is a very technology-intensive industry. So the industry, the businesses use technology to support services, to deliver services, to measure performance, to evaluate, to track their advertising, and then also more and more to really enhance experiences for customers. So what is technology? It's a word that we use a lot, but what does it actually mean? Is it something that is not human? Is it something that is not natural? I'm not sure if you ever thought about what technology really is. Well, most often when we think of technology, we think about objects. We think of computers, cameras, we think of tools. But that is only one aspect of technology, and I would like you to think more broadly about technology. Technology can also be know-how. It can be a process. It can be a certain way of doing things. And more broadly, it can actually be a system that includes not only the instruments, the tools, but also the people using them and the processes they have established around that use. When we think of technology, we also very often think of something that exists. And I would like to challenge you in this because technology usually is something that is constantly evolving. So let me give you an example. Let's think of the car. The cars we have today are not what we had in like the 1910s or 1920s. And they are a big conglomerate of different kinds of technologies that have to work together to bring us this automobile that allows us to have transportation. So you see here on the slide a person called Charles Kettering, and I'm not sure if you had ever heard of this person. He invented the electric starter. Now you might think, hey, that's a very tiny technology in the big picture of a car. But it really changed the car and the way it can be used. Before he invented the starter, people had to crank up the engines to get the car started. Well, think about using a car like this in bad weather. Think about women doing this. You need a lot of strength to do that. So by inventing the starter, he made the technology more accessible and more widely usable. So we have to think about technology as emerging. It's always in the process of becoming.